So I was going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to make a video about this. So this is going to be less about the incident itself and more about where we go from here. Uh, for those of you that don't know, Charlie Kirk was, for lack of a better word, assassinated at a public speaking event today, where he was shot in the throat and killed. And, I'm going to applaud the people on the left side of things that have been denouncing this and not jumping up and down with joy like some of the people that I've seen. Uh, there's a lot of talk about, oh, we need to bring the rhetoric down. We need to stop doing. They've been saying this for years, right? And every single time it's been, oh, well, the right is the side that needs to bring things down. When we've all known it's been the left that we need to hear rhetoric toned down on. That's just a fact. I've been saying this. I even made a video about it before Trump was even reelected, stating exactly why the Democrats were going to lose and why Democrats and the left are losing people like me who consider themselves in the middle. And now we're at a tipping point. We're at the boiling point. We're at the point of no return. It's whatever you want to call it. Because every single time that something like this happens, right, there's always a large, and I'm not going to call it a majority, we'll just say a large minority, right, of people that make it a point to, scream and clap and applaud and cheer. We saw the same thing happen with the Luigi Mangione shooting. Now we're seeing it with Charlie Kirk. We saw the same thing happen with the Trump shooting. There is a side of politics that is very comfortable calling for violence on other people and disguising it as moral superiority. That's very comfortable saying, oh, if I see you in public, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. That is very comfortable saying, oh, all these people that disagree with me need to die. And they are very comfortable saying it. That's a fact. If you don't believe me, I can start throwing out tons of examples of it. Because I wouldn't say it if I hadn't seen it for myself. When all of these politicians, and I saw somebody blaming MSNBC and CNN for this. And yeah, that's partly to blame, but that's only a certain age group, right, that watch CNN and MSNBC. The other half of it is the internet, streamers. And, I genuinely understand why people like Cenk Uygur and Ethan Klein were genuinely concerned and upset by this, because they were the only two that are sitting there thinking, oh, if this can happen to him, it can happen to me. And of course, the one person that's over there, making jokes and saying, oh, anybody on the left who says that they feel bad or cucked, and it's Destiny, of course. And I've seen radical shit coming out of his audience too. Destiny, Hassan, Noah Samson, Bad Empanada, if you can even call him a streamer. There's a laundry list of radicalized audiences on the left. You could argue the same thing about the right. You could say that the Groypers are radicalized. I wouldn't even say that they're radicalized. I think that's just a group of idiots, but that's just me. But yeah, this constant rhetoric of anybody who disagrees with me is a Nazi, anybody who disagrees with me is a fascist, anybody who disagrees with me deserves to die, shit like that. And when you get so used to seeing it over and over and over every day, every other day, every week, every month, every year, then eventually something like this is going to happen. Something like this is going to happen. And I told my wife, I was like, I need to go buy a handgun and get my concealed carry license. And I told a friend of mine that too. And he asked me, he was like, why? Why do you feel the need for that? Because there are people on the right who don't like me. Because I don't consider myself a right winger and I disagree on a lot of right wing talking points. But I've never had any of them threaten me. The only time that I've seen threats towards people like myself and other creators are from the left. If I'm at a Games Workshop store, it's not the right winger that I'm scared is going to walk up and try to do something. It's the left winger. That's where we're at. That's where we're at in politics. When you have people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Jamal Bowman and Hakeem Jeffries and all these other politicians, progressives, that are sitting up there openly calling people Nazis, openly calling people fascists, saying that people are a threat to democracy, then yeah, some crazy person is going to turn around and do something extreme. It's inevitable. It'd be no different if Nick Fuentes was going over there and, getting up on the podium and saying that, oh, we need to gas all the Jewish people, nonstop, all the time, 24/7. And then some crazy dude goes out there and starts killing Jewish people because Nick Fuentes said to. It's the same thing. But with them, and I've always said this, I say it all the time, that it's easy to spot the bad actors on the right because they don't try to hide that they hate you. If they say, oh, I want to hurt you, they openly say it. Now the left is getting to that point, but it's always very, very sugar-coated, right? Oh, we need to do this because of this. Or you're a bad person because of this. It's always wrapped up in some sort of moral superiority complex of why it's justified. And, that's a fact. All you have to do is listen to like Antifa rhetoric, which I've been saying for a long ass time that Antifa needs to be labeled a domestic terrorist organization. Sorry, they do. Those people are radical, they're extremists, and you can't just give them a pass because they happen to align with you politically. Sorry. I mean, same thing I'd say about the KKK if they were even active like Antifa, for the right. And yeah, it's sad that you have to, consider your options when you go outside just because people disagree with you politically. Do you think that Charlie Kirk was sitting there thinking, you know what, somebody's probably going to shoot me if I go up here and talk to all these people? No, he probably wasn't. Probably wasn't. Do you think that someone like Destiny, when he's doing his Unfuck America tour, is sitting there in an auditorium thinking, oh, somebody might take a shot at me today? Probably not. Same thing with Hassan Piker if he goes out in public. Probably not worried about that. Now, aside from the dumb ones, all of these people have to consider, if I walk out these doors and I go to some sort of speaking engagement, somebody's going to take a shot at me. I guarantee that's going to be at the forefront of a lot of these people's minds. When it happens to politicians, people just kind of go, oh, well, that sucks. And we sort of move on, right? We saw that happen with Trump. Trump got shot in the ear, and then by the next week, there was a whole new news cycle, and then, it wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't a big deal, but people always find the next thing that they want to focus on, and it just sort of fell by the wayside. But I think we're at the point, and especially with people like me, where if you saw that video of him being hit, it was bad. It was bad. It was really, really fucking bad. Really bad. We're at the point where, the country just saw a man literally assassinated live in front of the internet. And the fact that we're at this point now tells you where we are in terms of the political divide in this country. Because neither side wants to listen to each other. And I think people like me, they're in the middle, that are seeing some of these people jumping up and down and celebrating. I have no desire to be lumped in with any of those people at all, ever. And that's exactly why I voted the way I did this last election. Because it's not like this is a new thing. They've been doing this. They've been celebrating when people that they disagree with ideologically get hurt or get killed or whatever. It's nothing new. But I think now it's a little bit more real when you see somebody get gunned down just sitting up there talking about political whatever. Which I think when he was shot, he was speaking about gang violence. The last thing that I heard was blacks and gang violence, and then that was it. And, you know, this is a guy with a wife, kids. You might disagree with him. You can even hate him. That's okay. And I've said the same thing. I can't fucking stand Destiny. I can't stand Hassan. I can't stand 99% of the fucking Democrats. I couldn't stand Biden. Couldn't stand Kamala. Walls. I don't like any of these fucking people, but I don't want any of them to die. I don't want somebody to pick up a gun and go and assassinate any of them. That's not even a thought that occurs to me. But to these people that are being radicalized daily, that's all they can think about. They dream about assassinating their political, ideologically different enemies. And it's insane to me that this is where we're at. And I have a funny feeling that the next few days are going to be very, very bad. Because I think people are sick and tired of people on the left feeling comfortable threatening people, which I just saw a video the other day of some woman saying that, oh, if you're white, you're automatically my enemy and you deserve anything that happens to you if you're in my presence. Shit like that. People are way too comfortable saying shit like that on social media with zero repercussions. And I think, at least reading the room, I don't know how much longer that's going to go on, especially now. And if this was supposed to be some sort of, political win for whoever did this, I have a funny feeling that this is going to backfire in the most spectacular way. And anybody on the left is not going to like it. I'm looking at you, liberals, progressives, all of you. Because of the exact same reasons that I've been talking about. Been telling people, hey, don't do that. Hey, don't alienate people. Hey, don't malign people that you disagree with. Don't call them Nazis. Don't call them fascists. Don't call them genociders. Don't call them any other buzzword that you can think of. Don't do that. Because shit like what happened today is exactly where it leads. And, I don't even feel bad. If this blows back on the left, I honestly think they deserve it. If you're leftists, or you're a leftist and you're listening to me, people have tried to warn you. And credit where credit is due. There are a few people that have been saying for the last several months, at least since Trump got elected, hey, we actually need to have a dialogue and we actually need to start working with each other again instead of all this division and this, political extremism that's occurring in our country. And it's just fallen on deaf ears. Nobody's listening. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But I think they're going to care now because I don't think they're going to like what they see. And I didn't even like Charlie Kirk. But this is beyond the pale. This is infuriating. And I was not the only one today going, you know what? Time to buy a gun. If that's where we're at, if this is where we're at, then I guess it's time. And, you know, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish it wasn't like that. But between what happened today, what happened to that Ukrainian girl on the bus, I think people are done. And the ones that are now saying, just now saying, oh, we need to stop the division and we need to tone it down and this, that, and the other, are saying it because now they're worried. And in fact, I know that's the case for a lot of these people that are saying that. Now they're concerned. Now they're going, wait a minute. What if this gets turned on us? And if it does get turned on them, it's your own fucking fault. You know, and I say that as a moderate. You know, I don't agree with a lot of stuff on the right. I don't agree with a lot of stuff on the left. And I've even had people on the left call me a Nazi and a right winger and all kinds of other shit just because I have 1 point or 2 points or 3 points that they disagree with. And it's funny watching the left, you know, eat itself alive if somebody even gives the slightest bit of pushback or disagreement on whatever everybody's supposed to be, you know, marching in lockstep with. Like, how do you even function like that? How do you even function with no dissent? With, well, you don't. You don't. And if you want anything to look at for an example, just look at what's happening in the UK right now. It doesn't work. I've been saying that a lot about progressive policies and a lot of the stuff that people want with equality and everything else. Human nature does not allow for this progressive utopia that everybody wants. It just doesn't. And they're going to find out the hard way that life isn't like what some professor taught you in college about how the world should work, because the world does not work that way. It just doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and then in the coming days, the weeks, months that follow this. Because it's not like Charlie Kirk was a nobody. And I think it just opened a whole can of worms that people are not going to want to see. So, thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see where we go from here.